new members of some new conferences. Both FCS squads make the jump. And we're going to talk about whether or not this whole realignment thing is for the birds, if it is actually helping college football. I am your host, Captain Bourne, welcoming everybody. We've been gone a couple weeks. We normally go every other week in the off season, kind of let the storylines build up before we jump back in. I'm alongside my boy, Robert Colin Queso, newly minted 33-year-old. Is that correct now?
Yep.
Well, happy birthday. Drop a happy birthday, Robert, in the
Thanks,
chat,
brother.
everybody. Go ahead and follow us on TikTok, 4th and 1 Pod, Instagram, 4th and 1 Podcast. Make sure you like and subscribe. And most importantly, share this with all your family and friends who are also college football nerds. Robert, it's good to be back. I think you missed the last episode. It was just me and then
Yes.
Simeon.
Yep.
Since the last episode, not much has happened. The Olympics are going on. Very entertaining stuff. People are finding out that bobsled is no joke between Jason Kelsey and that SNL, the guy from SNL. Did you see that? They both went on bobsled, said the exact same thing. What Olympic sport do you think you could just dominate in?
Ooh, that I could dominate in?
Yeah.
Well, the safest way for me to not absolutely get murdered in the sport, you would have to probably the bobsled. At least put me part of the team.
Yeah.
We would not do good because I would not be able to I wouldn't be able to do the skeleton because I would just roll off of it. The 2-man would be pretty tough because I'm obviously a bigger fellow, so trying to figure that one out would be interesting. But the bobsled, you can just kind of weasel me in there. Everyone else would have to pick up the slack for me. So
you would probably have to start in the sled, and everyone else would have to then run and jump in.
And we would still get smoked because there'd be too much weight in there to push.
There's not enough. There too much running for Robert at the beginning of
Amen, brother.
Bobsled. I have always thought, that the skiing events kind of look cool. However, I fall down more than I can stand up skiing, and that's just going downhill. So anything trying to run on skis, anything like that, I'm out. I can't flip on the ground, so how am I supposed to flip in the air? I'm probably with you. However, I don't know if my back could hold up with all the G-forces in the bobsled. So
you only got to do it once.
Well, that's true. Curling. I could figure out curling, I think.
It would take me a hot minute.
Yeah.
The mopping though.
Yeah.
But then I also got to stand on the ice, and that's not a really good thing either.
That's true. And I think
I can yell. I could yell for them.
There you go. You could be the yeller. Yeah.
Yes.
You know where they should go get their yeller is Texas A&M.
Yeah.
With one of
because they definitely can not worry about football then.
They're male cheerleaders. All right. So. Also, comment down below, what's your favorite Olympic sport to watch? Mine is one of the skiing, the biathlon in skiing. That's pretty fun to watch. But then I am a sucker for the snowboard halfpipe, man.
Speed skating.
Oh, speed skating, yes.
The team relay speed skating. That blows my mind every time just because I get lost watching it. I know I would get lost doing it. So.
Yeah. Hey, are you like short track or long track or either?
Either one. They just go so fast.
Yeah. I running track in high school. It hits a little close to home, and speed skating is really fun to watch. All right, so let's go ahead and jump into what I think I wanted to talk about today, which piggybacks off of two moves from the FCS to the FBS. So the FBS now has 138 teams come this fall 2026 as the MAC adds Sacramento State as a football-only member starting this year, and the Mountain West adds North Dakota State as a football-only member starting this year. North Dakota State is paying $12.5 million. The Sacramento State is expected to pay $18 million to join the MAC, which I can't believe. That's an astronomical number for MACtion football. But it is what it is. MAC now goes from UConn, because UConn is also has joined, already joining, not sure which one,
UMass.
and UMass,
Yeah.
coast to coast there.
To coast.
The Mountain West is a little, because a lot of the traditional Mountain West teams like Boise State, are going to form the new Pac-12. So up comes North Dakota State. They have nothing else to prove in FCS. In the last 15 years, they've won 10 championships. They are the ultimate gold standard in FCS football. They are the reigning champion this past year as well. So they kind of did your heroic. Did they not?
Did they?
I thought they did.
I thought they lost.
To who?
I thought they lost earlier on to. Oh, it was kind of like the heartbreaker team, wasn't it? I want to say
They did. I was thinking of 2024. You are correct.
right.
You are correct. It was Montana or Montana State. It was one of the two. I apologize to
The Bison.
the Bison. So they won 2 years ago. They are now in FBS football, something I have been wanting the jump I've been wanting to see for quite some time. They are now making. So why don't we start with the obvious question of how do we think both teams will do come this football season?
I would say that North Dakota State is probably going to fare well more. They will be better than what Sacramento State will be. I don't think Sacramento State was really that good last year.
Yeah,
I
would definitely have to look up their record, which I can do now.
But North Dakota State, I mean, they have that winning tradition. They have that winning culture. So it just kind of works out better for them. I don't know. I mean, obviously, there is a big difference going from FCS to FBS. Now, are they ineligible for postseason still? Is that still the rule for them?
That is a great question.
I was actually surprised they were.
Yeah, I don't know if that got overturned or not. In one of the lawsuits, I know it was a thing when JMU, but then I thought that when Kennesaw State did it, that they were allowed this last year.
Well, because Kennesaw State was awful the first year, but then they turned it around this year.
Yes, I would have to look it up. No, actually, it says right here, will not be eligible for conference championship game or postseason play, including the CFP, until 2028 while undergoing the 2-year transition. Yeah. However, North Dakota State could still be chosen for a bowl if there are not enough bowl teams eligible. So just another way.
I'm actually surprised they came up this year with how, I mean, it's February and spring practices start next month. Like, normally it's, hey, we're going to come up next year. Because, like, the schedules are already out, too. So it's like, how are they going to work North Dakota State in? Now, the non-conference, that's probably just going to be the FCS schools, I would imagine. They would probably be, like, their South Dakota State and something else, or if there's some other team who's looking for another.
I know there was a meme flying around that USC needed an opponent, a non-con opponent. So I don't think USC would make that call. The issue with North Dakota State, if you're an FBS program, is that winning culture, right? They have enough dudes where if you have a bad game and they play well, which is what they're expected to do, I think that will that would end poorly for the FBS teams. I'm in agreement that I think North Dakota State will fare better, and especially with the reworked Mountain West, I think that they actually have a chance to win it. The teams are
win it because they technically can't.
Yeah,
but
So the lineup includes Air Force, Hawaii, Nevada, New Mexico, Northern Illinois, San Jose State, UNLV, UTEP, Wyoming. New members will be Northern Illinois and North Dakota State.
Stupid move. I still don't understand the Northern Illinois move, unless they were just tired of
Being
the
mediocre in the
MAC.
MAC.
I don't know.
Well, and that brings me to my question is Sacramento State. Now, North Dakota State is paying a total of $17.5 million. Wait, the fee is in addition. Yeah, so they're paying $12.5 to get in to the Mountain West and then $5 to the NCAA to make the move. Sacramento State, it says here, is paying 18 and then the 5 million. So 23 total. So I guess the MAC is valued higher than the Mountain West. That's what they
Probably
gotta be saying.
probably market wise, yeah, because it's the games are going to be at least on TV
At a decent time.
on like Wednesdays and Thursdays. Yeah, I don't know. It doesn't make it makes sense, I guess, for Sacramento State to go to a smaller conference like the MAC, but I don't know why they chose the MAC, other than the fact that
I
they
heard
think
it.
they're going to get
I
more
heard it
money.
was the only FBS conference that would take them. That they were trying
because they needed them.
Yeah, that they were trying to shop around the school. I was reading Sacramento State went to every conference and tried to shop it around, but the MAC was the only one.
Hey, SEC, do you think you could
Yeah,
do you have a spot for Sacramento State? Either that, or I'm surprised they didn't just come in independent for a year or two.
Yeah,
and shop around games that way, and then say they go 10-2, 10-3, whatever, however many games we're going to play next year. It's always a mystery. And a team, and then the MAC or the Mountain West or
the Pac-12.
Pac-12, or even not the American.
Oh, Conference USA.
Yeah, Conference USA, or there's one more, isn't there? Sun Belt.
Yeah, Sun Belt. Yep.
Yeah, the Fun Belt, Sun Belt.
So what you just said there regarding you're surprised they didn't come in independent, right? I was listening to College Game Day podcast, and they brought up a good point that these conferences now don't make any sense, right? You have the MAC, which goes from Middle America,
the Mid-Atlantic Conference,
to the Atlantic Coast Conference region, right there by BYU, Boston, that area, all the way out to Pac-12 / Big Ten country, and it stretches that way. Big Ten goes from coast to coast. SEC is more spread out than ever before. Pac-12's kind of now Midwest kind of over. So the conferences really don't make any sense. What would save the money school was if everyone just kind of went, if they treated football as something different, right? So North Dakota State is joining as a football-only member, same with Sacramento State. So that means in basketball, baseball, whatever other sports they play, whatever current conferences they are staying in. Big Ten. Or they could have just gone Oregon, UCLA, USC could have joined the Big Ten as Big football-only members, and then the Pac could have stayed Pac-12 with everything else. You saw this a lot with when the Big East broke down, right? There's still a Big East basketball conference, but football conference lost West Virginia. It lost UConn, Miami. It lost a bunch, so then it just became a basketball-only conference. Why haven't we seen more people maybe even go the Notre Dame route? You go independent. Simeon's going to hate to hear this when he's listening to it tomorrow. Go independent, or Ohio State, Michigan, Notre Dame, USC, whoever, say, hey, let's just be members together of a 5 or 6 team, 7, 8 team conference in football only. And then we'll go back because Notre Dame, they're ACC in basketball, they're Big Ten in lacrosse, they're independent in football, ACC in baseball, I believe. So why don't we see more schools kind of just doing the football only route?
I feel like it's just got to be the money. Like, the money somewhere has to be playing such a huge factor that says, listen, I know we're going we're going all in, assuming that the money we're going to get from the whether it's sponsorships, TV rights, conference, like whatever, is going to offset the cost of having to do everything else. I would rather them just do like a north south, split the United States right in half across the belt, and then you essentially have your SEC on the bottom, your lower portion of the Big 12, lower portion of the Big 10 versus your upper portion of the Big 10, upper portion of the ACC, and work it out that way. If they're going to do two super conferences.
Do you prefer two super conferences?
I don't know. I kind of feel like it would. I think there would be good implications from it, but I know there would be a lot of bad implications for it as well. Because now you're essentially alienating the rest of the school. Like, Wake Forest would have no reason to be part of either conference because they're just not good. Except for like the off years, you know what I mean? Virginia Tech on the off years when they are good, it's like you kind of would almost have to do two super conferences that are maybe 10 teams from the north, 10 from the south, and then everyone else stays where they're at.
Stays in the conference that they're at.
Yeah.
No.
Like you create two new conferences, you have your North Conference, your South Conference, and you just take the best, I don't know, we'll do historically the best out of the past 20 years. And then use, your teams from the North, teams from the South. And then if they, you want to get into it, then you do how Simeon always wants to do the regulating system. Michigan goes and has 3 or 4 bad years, and they just keep dropping. It's like, all right, now you're kicked back down to the Big Ten, and someone, maybe Nebraska, figures it out, and they get bumped up to the Northern Conference, and, they kind of try and work it that way.
The relegation model, that would be on paper, it's a very interesting model.
Realistically, though, it's a very tough model to do.
Oh, yeah. Especially with the amount of money. Like, just imagine, Kalen DeBoer, right, has 2 bad seasons, right? He lost 4 games, 5 games last year, right? And
more than he's supposed to.
More than he's supposed to in previous years. And say just everyone else in the Southern Conference just had a couple really good years, so he has to now drop down. The amount of money and branding that would be lost with Alabama going down, that would definitely be a political hurricane to view from 50,000 feet, right?
Yeah. Paul Feinbaum would lose his mind. You would see a lot of what happens in the Premier League, which is happening now, just coaches in the middle of the season being fired. However, now instead of waiting until the end of the season to take over, I think you would go back in, which is how soccer teams do it, where that new coach is just coaching right away. There's no wait for the end of the season. It's, okay, well, we got to right the ship to avoid relegation. Yeah, and I don't know like too much about soccer, so I don't know if like soccer coaches have like systems. Like I know there's different ways to set up,
right?
However many strikers and stuff. Where it's like for football, you have coaches who primarily run like a wing T, or they a spread offense, an air raid.
I don't think anyone's run the wing T for like 50 years.
All right, dude. Well, listen. All right, at least they didn't say the wishbone.
Well, that's true.
But you know what I mean? Like you have such varying differences, and if you say, okay, well, this coach is going to take over Alabama, well, they historically are an air raid coach, and it's like, well, this team's not set up for an air raid system. So I feel like colleges would also have to be so selective of their coaches, where maybe they actually are starting to care about who's running the programs, who's in charge, what players are actually. It's not just, well, we're bringing in 22 5-stars, where it's like, hey, no, now we're actually bringing in kids who are more versatile and aren't one-trick ponies.
So that'll be a very interesting thing to keep an eye on, are how these super conferences affect football. Much like everything else, there's no adult in the room. NCAA is just sitting back, losing cases in court. They did win one. I saw what lawsuit did they win recently that denied someone eligibility? They lost the Trinidad Chambliss one.
Which is stupid.
The Bianca one in basketball. They finally, a judge in Alabama finally put a stop to that injunction. So that was
Here's the thing with that though, is it's not even really the NCAA's making these judgment calls. Like, they're kind of just advising, saying, hey, this is what we think, and it's just random district court judges are just like, yep, nope, this is good, that's not. And I think that's kind of what hurts too, is there's so many judges with their hands in the pot that they almost need to be like, no, this is like, these are the judges that we go to or have to go to in order for these things to make sense, because you have one judge, like Chambliss, a judge rules, yep, he's good to go. That judge is probably an Ole Miss fan, so he's like, yeah, we're going to keep this ship rolling.
He went to law school at Ole Miss, yes.
Yeah, Joey Aguilar, there's still no ruling there, so his judge is probably a Georgia fan. Yeah, and he's like, no, he plays for Tennessee. We're gonna drag this out. You know what I mean? It's like, it doesn't make sense.
Yeah, there needs to be hard and fast rules. And then you have the Montana State guy who the NCAA just granted his ninth year of eligibility.
That guy's got a full-time job.
Dude, so there's no rhyme or reason. There's no rhyme or reason to these rulings. I do agree there needs to be some sort of time limit. Maybe 5 years. You get 5 years to play, right? You get 5 years eligible. After that, maybe an age limit, something. And maybe the NCAA is doing stuff behind the scenes that I'm just not seeing. However, it doesn't really seem like it. It just kind of seems like they're okay taking the lumps from all of these rulings without really trying to lock down any hard and fast rules. Who was the coach the other day that called for someone to be in charge of college football?
Oh, I don't know.
Or there to be a commissioner for college football. It was a big time coach. All right. Anyway, let's go back to what I want to talk about, which is moving conferences, right? So this realignment has been big in the last 3 years. However, before that, about 15 years ago, there was a handful of, in quotation, high-profile schools that made jumps to other conferences. I am talking about these specific teams. I'm sure there are others. If I leave your school off the list, hate me down below. So I'm talking about Nebraska. These all happened within the last 15 years. Nebraska went from the Big 12 to the Big 10. Missouri went from the Big 12 to the SEC. A&M went from the from the Big 12 to the SEC. Rutgers went from the Big East to the Big 10. Maryland went from the ACC to the Big 10. And West Virginia went from the Big East to the Big 12. And I say all of that to say that sometimes the grass is not always greener. Nebraska took the jump thinking that they had maxed out at the Big 12, which was not getting enough respect, not being able to get the right talent, all of that. Well, in Big 12 games, in the 20-plus years they spent in the Big 12, they win 85-45 with 2 conference championships. Okay? Since joining the Big 10, they are 94-91 overall and 54-68 in conference, and they have 1 conference championship game appearance. Missouri is 104-73 since joining the SEC with a 56-60 in conference record and 2 championship game appearances. Before that, in the Big 12, they were 67-72 in conference play with a couple division titles, no conference championships. A&M is pretty much the only school that's about the same. They are 116-61 They were in the Big 12 119 and 80. They have one conference championship in 1998 historically, and they don't have one since. In conference, they are 64 and 48 in the SEC. Rutgers has just been bad no matter where they have played football. They are 52 and 93 since joining the Big Ten and 22 and 84 in conference with only 2 winning seasons. They were 43, 92 and 1 in Big East play. Maryland, by the way, if you scroll down Rutgers in the early 2000s, you will see a lot of 1 and 11s and 0 and 12s, and it's not great for where college football started. Maryland is 61 and 81 since joining the Big Ten and about 30 games under 500 in conference. In the ACC, they were 177 and 193 with 9 conference championships. Major step down. West Virginia, though, is the telltale sign of all of these programs that the grass is not always greener. Since joining the Big 12, they are 74 and 77. That was as of the end of the 25 season, so that number's kind of grown more since then with this past year, and 0 conference championship game appearances. In the Big East, they had 7 Big East titles and were 166, 88, and 2. So with Texas and Oklahoma and Oregon and USC and UCLA and Washington and all of them going from previous underperforming, in quotation, conferences and where they all feel like they maxed out, in whether it be with talent, championship aspirations, money, revenue, anything like that. They have now made the jump. Well, I just gave you 6 examples of how maybe it's not going to go so well. There is no question. These are just 6 examples of how it's not going to go so well. And I would ask the teams that are making the move, and this is not directed at North Dakota State or Sacramento State, where it is just on the topic. Are you doing it for the money? Because if you're only doing it for the money, I think it just ends badly for you.
So on the case of for Sacramento State, I would say it's more money laced, because I have never heard of Sacramento State until a year or 2 ago when that kid transferred there that we always made fun of because he went to 12 different schools and then he went to there and he went to
So Rashada.
It's not like Sacramento State was this world beating team and they were like, we're ready for a new challenge. Where North Dakota State, I figured they would have moved up years ago. But part of me is like, okay, so they waited. North Dakota State waited, they paid their dues, and they mopped up for years. They had a better run than what Alabama did. So for them to go and make the move, it makes more sense and it's more believable for them to move up. Because again, there's nothing for them to prove. They destroyed their conference. They essentially put North Dakota on the map of college football. They did everything and anything to make themselves relevant. So, moving up doesn't hurt them, because even if they go if they only have 5 wins and those wins are all against FBS teams, it's like, okay, yeah. No one's now I'm kind of expecting North Dakota State to do a lot better than 5 wins just because of who they are. But I'm not expecting them to go undefeated. James Madison was coming off, came right out and was just dominant, Do I think because I also feel that the Mountain West is eventually, which they should do, is go and grab South Dakota State, Montana State. Just get the market, get everyone in that section, and you're going to create a pretty good conference, because chances are one of those teams coming out of there is going to be the buy-in for the playoff.
It's very interesting when I look at these numbers, and then you look at the schools that have recently made the jump. You look at UCLA, who has not had a good go of it. USC, yeah, Oregon's been great. Washington's been fine. I would put USC and Washington kind of in the same category, good, not great. Oklahoma and Texas both have made playoffs, so that seems to be quite the jump. But they were making the playoffs before they joined the conference. Texas in the last year, Oklahoma a couple of times prior. In the case of, let's just take Nebraska, right? You were dominating the Big 12. You were getting high level recruits at Nebraska. Nebraska then went and swam with the big boys, and they used to be, hey, if you come to Lincoln, Nebraska on college football Saturdays, you know the stadium's the third largest town, right, in Nebraska, right? Like, true Midwest boys will eat that up to try to get them to come get there, right? There's nothing to do around here except be in Lincoln, Nebraska. But then they went to a conference with Ohio State and with Michigan and with Michigan State. And then you have the academic prestige of Northwestern in the conference. There are other big, quote-unquote, cooler players now in the pool, and your Midwest attractiveness isn't really hitting in Los Angeles anymore, if you know what I'm saying.
Yeah.
Right? And then West Virginia's... I still can't figure out West Virginia. You're in the Big East. You dominate the Big East. Okay, fine. Lesser talent. But you make the Big 12. You're kind of now in the heart of Big 12 country. Kind of in the Midwest area. You know, you're right by Pittsburgh there. You got a good pipeline in Pennsylvania and Ohio. Yes, granted, other schools in the state will clean up, but there's still, like, pipeline there. I can't figure out their struggles whatsoever.
So now West Virginia, I would have pegged more as an ACC school, just because the Big East pretty much was like the Big East and the ACC were kind of almost like the same.
Yeah.
But I mean, I think they were, when they left, they were leaving when the Big East was like pretty much done. Because I think like Pitt was one of the first ones to leave and stuff like that. So it kind of made more sense if they just would have went to the ACC. And I don't know if the ACC was like, hey, we don't need anyone else right now, so go find someone else in the Big. And the Big 12 would have just lost Colorado to the Pac-12. They would have just lost,
Utah
like,
too.
A&M.
I think. Yeah. Well,
like,
Utah wasn't in the Big 12 then, but yeah.
They would have lost all their premier, essentially, guys, in Texas and Oklahoma were in the talks of leaving. So it was, all right, yeah, we can take you. Because then I think the Big 12 was like, well, we can at least reach more of a Northeastern market now. But yeah, it's another one of those play styles where, the Big 12 plays a certain type of football. West Virginia and the Big East, not so much, which is why, you have, when these teams come into the Big Ten, it's not, it doesn't necessarily go too well the first couple of years. And then they kind of figure it out. Like Maryland's still trying to figure it out. Rutgers is never going to figure it out. Nebraska figures it out for 3 quarters and then loses it in the 4th quarter. But and the same's for the SEC, A&M coming into the SEC, they were good, and then they kind of fell off. Missouri just kind of was okay, and then they were like, hey, we're good for a year or two, and now they're not.
Missouri, when they first entered, they went 5-7 that first year. The next 2 years, they made that conference championship game twice. They got blown out in both games, but they made it, right? They were there. Their defensive, they had a lot of defensive line talent. I remember the one year they led the nation in sacks. And then it was almost the opposite. Like they figured it out, but then they fell off. So I would really like to know what happened there. A&M, it's the big game. thing with A&M. It's the whole Penn State. Texas A&M is the Penn State of the Southeastern Conference. They can win a bunch of games, but they just can't win the big ones when the big one matters. I mean, case in point this year, you have one big game against Texas, you lose that, and then you go to the college football playoff, and you got Miami at home. It's windy, they miss 3 field goals, and you don't do anything on offense, and you muster 3 points at home.
Yeah.
Rutgers is funny. As I told you, they were in the Big East from 1991 to 2012. In the 2013 season, the Big East became the American, and then they joined the Big Ten in the 2014 season. However, this was Rutgers' run from 1996 until 2002.
The best year you're going to find
Yeah.
is the year they played West Virginia on a night game. Ray Rice was the running back, and it was like a Thursday night game. That is the best year you're going to find.
That was their 2006 season, 11-2. And I do believe they were actually playing the USF Bulls, who were ranked number 2 at that time. I think so. I could be wrong. But this 96-02 stretch, let me just hit you with this. By the way, same coach for most of it. So in 96, they went 2-9, then they went 0-11, then 5-6. Hey, we are turning around this train, Robert. And then 1-10 in 99. In 2000, Terry Shea's last year, they were 3-8. In Greg Schiano's first year, they were 2-9. In Greg Schiano's second year, 1-11. Then they got building up. They went 5-7, 4-7, 7-5, 11-2 under Greg Schiano. In the Big Ten alone, as I said, they have only had, technically 3 winning seasons. They went 8-5 in 14. They went 7-6 in 23 and 7-6 in 24. So let this be a learning lesson to all of the presidents, board of regents, athletic directors of all these schools wanting to make the jump for money, thinking that success will automatically follow, because I do not think that is always the case.
2006. They played at USF. It was a ranked game, and they won by 2. Very last game of the season at West Virginia, it was a overtime game. Oh, it's not going to let me. Okay, yeah, it is. It was number 13 versus number 15, 10-2 versus 10-2, and it went, I think, to like triple overtime.
The West Virginia game? Who won?
West Virginia.
West Virginia. That was what year? That was 06, so that was right before the 07 season, which I believe that was the season that West Virginia lost to Pitt on a Saturday night, and then Rich Rod took the Michigan job the following
I think
week.
So, yeah. Because that was that Pat White?
Yeah, Pat Wright, and I think Tavon Austin.
Yeah, because it was...
Or maybe Tavon Austin was later.
Because West Virginia was probably going to go to...
the national championship game.
The national championship, and they lost 13-9.
Yeah. Pat McAfee missed a couple of field goals that they would have won the game on. What a wild year 2007 was. All right. Well, I'm not sure that I have much anything else. Unless if you have anything else.
I mean, so there was, I guess the other breaking news was the kid from Northern Iowa.
The tight end?
Yeah, who passed away. So I'm wondering if that's going to cause like a big investigation because it happened during an off-season workout. So I wonder, because do you remember it was, I don't remember how many years ago, but there was another kid who passed away during it was either a spring workout or it might have been a summer workout, and it became like a really big deal where, I mean, obviously anytime anyone passes away, super huge deal,
Right.
especially if a college athlete. But then they look into like the routine and the coaching.
It was DJ Jerkin at Maryland.
Yeah.
Yes.
And then like, then after that, I think the NCAA changed the way the workouts were supposed to be, or like the timing was supposed to be like it was like you can't be outside at this point of the day, and so I wonder if anything will come after that.
Well, I would have to imagine at least something, not anything in the near future, right? The NCAA is historically a day late and a dollar short with everything. So in 5 years, we might hear something else about this. I'm only being hyperbole just a little bit. I don't know if that's the correct past tense for maybe it's hyperbole. Nah, that sounds wrong. Yeah, so our thoughts and prayers though go to Parker Sutherland's family. That's a tough situation. He was a tight end at Northern Iowa. He was a 6'6" tight end there, and he collapsed after a workout on Thursday, and then he passed away 2 days later. So that's a tough situation that we will kind of keep everyone up to date on as it happens. And I think we will go for there. So I kind of think I got what I wanted to get done here. You know, a little shorter episodes, not much to do. Did you do anything fun for your birthday?
Just got some blood work done, my man.
Oh, wow. That's very exciting. Was the blood work
old man birthday? Well, yeah, it had to be because I had to go back, and I couldn't last week because I was working 5 days. So They were like, well, whenever your next day off is, I was like, well, of course, that's my birthday. Why wouldn't it be? Yeah. So
did you have anything special for dinner, dessert, anything?
Just got some Chipotle on the way home.
Nice. Okay.
Yeah. Me and Heather.
No special dessert?
I mean, we got some, I got a Panera cookie.
Oh, there you go. Okay.
Yeah.
Wait, so you went to Chipotle and then Panera just for the cookie?
Well, no, I wanted to get a drink and stuff like that. And
gotcha. Okay.
Yeah.
What is your, since we're on the topic, big birthday celebration, I say, hey, listen, my man, let me spoil you. Let me get whatever dessert you want to get. What am I picking up for Robert?
Oh, dog, you're getting me some tiramisu. Tiramisu that's my number one dessert. I don't know. It's kind of hard to find a really good tiramisu. You got to kind of find the old Italian places to make it.
Can I be completely honest with you?
You've never had tiramisu before.
I don't even know what it is.
Well, you also don't like coffee, and it's made with you dip the lady fingers in it, kind of soaks it up a little bit.
Well,
so it would probably keel you over. But yeah, I don't know. It's really good.
It kind of looks like when you make graham crackers, vanilla pudding, and then the chocolate crust on top. You know what I'm talking about?
Yeah.
Yeah. It kind of looks like that from the pictures. But yeah, I don't think I've ever had that. But you are correct.
It's good.
Yeah. All right. Well, then why don't we go ahead and get out of here? So everyone, you can gift right. It says trying to reconnect. So I'm not sure if maybe we have already ended. Maybe we've just been for the last 10 minutes talking to no one.
Hey, Robert, what's your number one dessert? Oh, just definitely
the silence. All right. Well, I guess if it has recorded this far, thank you for being here. It won't let me play the outros or anything, so thank you for being here. We'll see you next week, in a couple weeks, whenever. So make sure to select that notification and subscribe
you got it,
button.
Dog.
Jeez.
It's there. It's there, you know.
Make sure you select the notification button and the subscribe button so you never miss a single episode. We will see you later. Wash your hands, you filthy animals. Bye-bye.